Boker Tov, it's 9 a.m. May the, 7th? Yes. And I'm back at our wheat field. And I want you to look and just see that this is what we have left of the wheat. A few little grains that have not yet shattered, still hanging out on the stems. But there are no whole grains of wheat to be seen in our field. As usual, I'll do a walkabout here and see if I can find anything that we can sink our teeth into and call an offering. So far, I have found one little, back it up so it's clearer, one little complete head of wheat. Two, there's a second one. Here's three more that are hanging out rather late. If you can see that third one, some of mine did this, made that grain head as they were just exiting the boot chute, that's about right, because time was late for them coming out. So there's three, that's what, 6 altogether? As suspected, there's more here on the northeast side that have not completely shattered. There's more grains on the ends of the stalks that remain, but look how few there is. If you can't remember, I encourage you to go back and review the previous videos on this beautiful wheat field. There is not even enough here at this point for a last fruits offering. There's nothing to put the sickle to. I cannot reach in and grab even one handful of the wild wheat that has not shattered. And if I can reach in and grab a handful, there would only be a grain or two left on the stem or the stalk. So, I'm going to continue just a little further around the corner. This is that. Mount Hermon is in this direction, so this is the northeast side of this hill. And on the east proper facing side, everything is just non-existent altogether. Let me see if I can pull in. Here's some right here. I'll pull it in tighter. And you can see how as they shatter, the weight comes off the stem and they stand back up. Every one of those are standing straight up because there are just a few grains left from the bottom of each of those heads, and the weight of the burden of the grain is gone, and they're able to stand back up straight. And here I am on the far, that would be northwest end of the field, still facing slightly east and north, but as far as a direction in the field itself, I'm on the furthest northwest edge of that field. And you can see there is nothing to harvest here. There's a few little guys hanging out. Let me see if I can pull it in. See if I can bring it sharper. Maybe manually? No, that darkens it. Bring it up to contrast. There, that's better. You can see there's a few little grains still anchored to the tip of that stem, that stalk, that boot, that tube, that shoot, whatever you want to call it, the plant that emerged from the earth before the grain head appeared. Just a few out through there. There were no more beautiful head of wheat like we saw in this field. If the barley is correct, the wheat will be correct. And if the barley is not correct, the wheat will not be correct. Here we are 7 days in front of Shavuot of the second calendar of the people who follow the biblical calendar. We're knocking at the door 7 days ahead of time. And you would need to have harvested this wheat to offer for Shavuot. And you are left standing empty-handed. I have done my best, my absolute best. I have done my absolute best to be a faithful reporter from what I have seen on the land. And I am standing here telling you, you would be appearing before Elohim with empty hands on your Shavuot date. And we are commanded that we cannot appear before him empty. There are 3 times that the men of Israel were commanded to appear in Jerusalem, and that was for the first fruits of barley, the first fruits of wheat, and the final ingathering of the pomegranates, the dates, and the olives. If we have not determined the barley correctly, we will appear before him empty for the latter 2 appearances, when the men were commanded to ascend to Jerusalem and present the labor of their hands. I am begging you to rethink your position for those who follow what you have believed to be the truth, because you're missing something. You don't have wheat. Your final ingathering fruits are going to be already over and late. They're not going to be fresh. They're not going to be the first fruits from those species. I do not hate anybody in the Abib of God group or in Devorah's date tree group. Many times I have hated your actions. Many times I have hated your manipulation. But you I have not hated. I want you to think about those that follow you. Are you doing what you're doing in fear of Elohim? Or are you doing what you're doing because entitlement, because of money, because of, oh, it's hard to say you're wrong, because maybe you have not understood to this point that you're out of sync with the rhythm on this land. For others of you still looking for the truth, I want to mention a few things to you. The land of Israel is in the northern hemisphere. Basically, that means that in the south, things are ready before they are in the north. I've used this so many times. If you live in the United States, you know that strawberries are ready in Florida before they are in Michigan. The same applies here. I live in the north, and generally speaking, in the south, down by Gaza, is where we will find the earliest barley, if there has been sufficient rain, because sometimes rain does not happen the same in all the regions. So, because specifically this year Elohim has so lovingly given you his witness by giving us the first fruits in the north, in a miraculous field, during a time of lockdown. During a time of lockdown, the day before we went into quarantine, where you could not travel without legitimate reasons, without breaking the law and suffering a very severe fine if you got caught. During this time, sorry, you don't need to look at my nostrils. This camera's heavy. I'm not very good at this. During this time, he dropped into the lap of his people that were diligently seeking him a field that had never been before and will never be again. A field that had previously been domestic, that first the wild barley came up in, and later the domestic barley appeared. So it was a perfect blend of domestic and wild barley that has now been plowed over, and trees have been planted. That's a field that will never be again. And this year, then afterwards, then he gave us a wheat field. And we can be sure of the timing. because this wheat field would have emerged at the same time as the barley field he gave us. So we're we can be very sure of the timing of the calendar this year specifically. Please know that he loves you and he's working so hard to get your attention. He's given you things that, my goodness, a wheat field in the same area as a barley field. And we know of a surety because it's the same growing zone. What he's saying, this is the way, walk in it. This is my impassioned plea to you, that you who lead other people on your own calendar with your own agenda would wake up and follow Elohim. That's the only way to do this. I go into the field fearfully every year. People get really frustrated with me because I say I don't know anything. And it's true, I don't know anything. We've had, my goodness, more than 50 years of insufficient water, and we've had 2 years of the Kinneret being full and would have overflown if they had not been pumping water out of it. That's a game changer. The land reacts differently. Barley came up 1 week after the earth was soaked, for 1 week after the barley came up. Do you understand that once it comes up, it's on its way, and there's a window that goes with the barley, and then it must die? It must drop its seeds because that's the way Elohim created it to do? It's a game changer. That's why I don't know anything. That's why I would not say anything to the last minute. And I was sure. One more sweeping view of the field to show you that your first fruits for Shavuot can't even be gathered from a last fruit on this land. And that the barley that was Abib back in February corresponds with the wheat that was more than ready for a harvest on the 18th of April. Where's your barley, beloved? Where's your wheat? Everything's gone. It's not just the wheat. You've still got another week. Nobody's gathering in the barley. Nobody. And there's nobody able to gather in the wheat at this point. Beloved, look at the earth. Look at the earth. You who follow only the barley, you know how fragile it is as it ripens. The same thing applies to the wheat, only it's even more fragile. Where's your first fruits offering, beloved? Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Hear what Elohim is saying to you. It's too late to have Shavuot this month. It's too late to have Shavuot in 2 weeks. You have no grains. You have neither barley nor do you have wheat. The scripture says something to the effect of the harvest, summer is over, the harvest is ended, and we're not saved. Literally, the word summer means kites. It means the cutting have been cut, and we are not saved. Your calendar is off. It's not too late to say, I made a mistake. The land has changed. Indeed, the land has changed. We have rain now. Make your announcements to your groups. Accept the witness that Elohim has given you from the earth this year of 2 fields from the same environment, ready in harmony, displaying his will. Make that announcement to your group, and it's not too late for you to participate in the correct 7th month calendar according to the witness of Elohim, that last go up feast when spiritually you will no longer be appearing before him empty.